Hi there and welcome to the CyberHut TV. My name is Simon Moffat, founder and analyst at the CyberHut, and in our vendor introduction series I get the privilege of interviewing all of the exciting identity security startups around the globe, trying to understand what are some of the problems they are looking to solve. And absolutely thrilled and honoured to have Roy from Rezonate with me. Roy, how are we doing?
Well, good, Simon. How are you?
I'm very well. Yeah, I'm very I've got the best job in the world. I just get to ask questions and interview super smart people like yourself on some of the technology they are building. So I've got the easy part, I guess. And for those who've not seen this sort of series before, we essentially ask the participants three very important questions to try and understand some of the technology that they are building. We start off with question number one. Ultimately, is what is the problem that Rezonate is looking to solve?
Well, identity security in the cloud and in the SaaS areas and the IDPs is fairly broken. Okay, it's broken across the authentication tools, the authorization tools, the monitoring tools. Think about yourself. If you're starting and authenticate with your email to some IDP, then to the cloud or to the SaaS applications, each with different security controls like authorization and privileges. And security teams are finding it very hard to understand who can do what, to monitor the usage of those privileges and their activities and making sure that they're cleaned. It's not taken by any attacker, to run compliance and to run a continuous improvement process. This breakage is not just across tools, it's across teams, right? Like IT are managing one part, DevOps other parts, like IT and local admins. So the idea is that identity security is broken, and a unified approach is what the world is calling out loud, not just for visibility, but also for control.
I love that. I think you're hitting all those keywords there around unification as well. Bringing together the systems, having visibility. These are things which I think many organisations really struggle with, don't they? They struggle with having that view across, as you say, authentication, access control, a visibility across everything, which it's a difficult thing to try and achieve. But I think ultimately, why is this becoming more of a problem today? What's been changing? Is it just changing in emerging threats, emerging need for this, or is it the existing technology just really not capable to deliver this?
Well, I see three aspects of the urgency. The first one is that we have the legacy tools that try to reinforce themselves to the new realm, to the new world, and it doesn't really work, right? We're starting to push the old approach of PAM and others into the cloud, into the SaaS areas. It doesn't work, it doesn't scale. And we have, again, this desperate team working without a context in order to solve part of the problem, right? The second part is the scale. The business is required to grow fast. With the growth come more human and machine identities, again, at scale, at steroids, right? More user accounts, more applications, more activities. And the current solution doesn't really scale with that, but the current teams needs to adopt the business, to run fast. So we're kind of building security debt around that. And of course, the third part that is correlated to these are the attackers understanding that these are the weak points, these are the weak stitches between the systems that they can attack immediately, gain access, or at least take over identities and then use them in doomsday. So you see, again, all the statistics, 80% of the attacks are starting with broken identities or identities that were taken over. But the true thing is that 80% of the attacks cannot be stopped because of the breakage, because of the siloed view, because of the non-contextual way that we're trying to solve this problem with old tools. So this is why, the sense of urgency. And I think that what we're seeing is that boards, senior management, and security people, you look out at the world and understand that they need to make a change. They understand that they need more context, more control, and more automation. So they're looking for some tools that will bring them into conviction. First, how do I look like from an identity perspective, right? They realize that they don't know. Then sometimes we have the Eureka moment of when we're presenting our storyline, the identity path from A to Z. There's no way. I didn't know that they have access from here to there, or that there's no barrier there. So there's a lot of realization and education right now because attacks are just super successful. And it's built on the other pillars that I just shared with you.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a fascinating thing, isn't it? When if you start looking at things like data breach investigation reports or the latest investigation, it often boils down somewhere to identity. At some stage, there's going to be an identity aspect to that, and I think that's proliferating. And I think also that you make a really good point around the sort of scale aspect, and it's not just the number of identities, but the type of identities. Staff, contractors, partners, customers, consumers, workloads, services, all of the types of identities are increasing. And then the types, they're doing more, aren't they? They're accessing more systems, more pieces of data, on-premises systems, cloud systems, SaaS. So you've got more identities, more things that they're accessing, and somehow in the middle, I agree as well around organizations. They're trying to take that legacy tech and trying to support that stuff, which they're not able to do so, are they? I don't think.
Well, it reminds me the days that endpoint security, was built. Right, we were sure that IT and network will solve the problems around compromised endpoints, or again, like stealing files from the endpoints or from servers, and we have Microsoft, we have the other operating systems. We'll be fine, right? There's routine, there's everything is working. But then you understand that the focal point of defense and of offense has been changed, right? And once you're being compromised, you're not asking yourself, okay, where's the IT person who's responsible for that? You're asking, what is this identity capable to do, regardless of the type of system, regardless of the way that they came in? How can I control? How can I contain? And you need to answer those questions super fast, and you need to be very actionable, not just insightful. And this is, what we're looking for today, what we see that customers are looking today in the market when they're making decisions. They don't want to connect the dots manually. They don't want to act without a context on a specific part of the identity. They want to do, an organized process across that entire fabric.
I love that. It's control and contain. I like the sound of that. So I guess we've created a picture a little bit around what the problem space looks like. So I guess, why are Rezonate best placed to try and solve some of this? What's your secret sauce ultimately?
Well, why we're so excited to solve this problem. So we came from the security world for governments and for in the IR area, and more than that, right, on regulation, incident response, and others. What we always see is that this lack of visibility, insightful and actionable visibility, not just throwing data at you, but within 10, 15 seconds, being able to tell you the entire story and help you to act, is the thing that security people today and IAM people are lacking of. So one of the things that stands out that we got a cool vendor for and others is the identity storyline. We're ingesting all the data from cloud vendors, IDPs, and SaaS applications, and we're building a radically simple graph that presents access end-to-end. From the principal identity across all its user accounts or machine accounts up until the last asset, app, or whatever they get access to, with their permissions, with their behaviors, and with the security hurdles or controls. And it's being updated in real time. And this is the basis for the second thing that makes us stand out. We're actually not just flagging security issues or attacks. We're empowering our customers to solve these problems from the platform. So we have remediation flows that utilize the current tools that organizations have, tweaking the configurations, changing the access privileges, adding some more restrictive policies or removing them. And we're doing this not just as a response to something that is happening. We're empowering our customers to use a risk profile of this identity. How risky is it based on our view of its security controls and access capabilities, to actually decide near real time if to enable access or not. So this fusion of identity storyline across all the systems as the baseline, and then operational ability across that, right, that allow the security team and IAM team to make the tweaks that will bring back identity to be more secure, and the risk profile that we're providing near real time, enabling the teams to work together with one language, one Canva, and one rewarding feedback system that will help them to protect identities better. By the end of the day, identity is a process problem today. It's not a tool problem. We have tons of tools. The methods should be restructured, and we're just like adding the security layer on top of the fantastic tools that are out there, okay, that cannot, operate themselves.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. It's always about people and process to start with. And I think having that overlay, I think, is where the value tends to be. There's lovely little terms, the identity storyline. That's a really powerful concept. Looking at the identity journey, essentially, isn't it? From creation, authentication, activity, and linking, and, as you said, pulling together all of those different data sources, your fusion, like that, fusing different data points together to give you that more holistic view of what's going on. And I think ultimately as well, the really important aspect is organizations, they don't want any more alerts, do they? They've got alerts coming out of every system, whether it's the operations center, the network guys, access request and review, that's alerting. But I think having that ability to remediate, and control, contain, and actually have an actionable part to this, I think is really where the long-term power seems to be, isn't it? I think it's being able to help them remediate things.
Yep, totally agree.
Well, fascinating. I think it's identity security, identity threat detection, response, the ability to have this storyline, I think is a really powerful weapon in the arsenal against data threats, cyber attacks, and others. So, Roy, thanks for taking a bit of time out. I appreciate how busy likes of yourselves are building out this next generation of identity security companies. So, thank you once again for taking a bit of time out of your busy day. This has been another episode in our vendor introduction series from the Cyber Hut. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.